Okay, let's see how we can change everything we're looking at here on the main sign-in screen. This is AccuSQL 2015, but the same thing applies for AccuTrack 2015. By everything, I mean the welcome message, the center announcements message, the ID information that you present to students on how to enter their information here in the ID field, any of the buttons on the bottom, and the student pad and tutor pad. Further, I'm going to drill down to show you, if you show student and tutor pad, what buttons you can show in the student and tutor pad. By the way, the logo here would be your college logo. We ship the software with your logo included. If for some reason that changes, you can let us know here and we can change it for you. Okay, anyway, I'll log in as an administrator. And then I'm going to go to Sign In Setup and then the Setup tab down here in the bottom right. Okay, so here is our welcome message. So let's change that. Here's our center announcement. So I've got that in Notepad. I'm going to paste some new announcements here. And by the way, if I want to not show them, I don't have to show any messages at all. I would recommend an opaque background if you show them. It is easier to see. And here's the main buttons on the screen. So if I turn these buttons off and return to my sign-in screen, now it says welcome to the ARC. There's my new message and I have no buttons on the bottom. Okay, back in as admin. Under System here, Setup, I have something called ID settings. Here's the message that for the student sign-in. So I can save that. And now it's updated accordingly. Okay, back to sign-in setup. I'll talk a little more about those bottom buttons. So I'll go ahead and turn these on. And by the way, there's subsets of options underneath Messaging Center. So if I check that box, that means students can't message other students, only tutors. And I can say students can only see tutors. They can't see other signed-in students, if I'd like. Now this kiosk mode, this one's kind of important. For administrators or people that are running reports that are using AccuTrack anywhere but as a sign-in station, you would want to not run in kiosk mode. Kiosk mode means it takes up the entire screen. So at a tutoring center or advising center, anywhere where students sign in using that station, you would want to check kiosk mode. Okay, so that's what that does, full screen or not full screen. Okay, I'll save that. Now let's talk briefly here about activity waiting list. If I go to my waiting options, I'm going to enable activity waiting list here. Now what does activity waiting list do? It allows a max number of students to be signed into any particular activity at any given time. Okay. Now if I go to categories and activities here, I'm going to pick one, and let's just use academic computer use. Okay, I'll edit that record, and right here is the field I'm concerned about, max students. So I'm going to say only 2 students at any time can ever be in academic computer use. Okay, now when I return to my sign-in screen, here's my activity waiting list button, but real quickly, let's sign some students in. Here comes the first one. For academic computer use. And here comes the next. Oh, that one was already in, sorry, so I'll sign them out and back in. Okay, academic computer use. So that's 2. Now here comes the third student. Again, academic computer use. And it tells me the activity is full, member max 2, and it says would I like to be added to the activity waiting list. Okay. And now I'm in line. Now since I'm showing the activity waiting list button on the main screen, a student can click it and see where they are in the waiting queue, what they're waiting for, how long they've been waiting, seats, etc. they can't sign themselves in because they need administrator credentials to do that. But what this means is when a student signs out of academic computer use, then Mike Smithfield will be allowed to sign into that activity. Along the same lines as activity waiting list, we have something called intake system. So let's go turn this off, and I'm going to turn intake system on. Now, intake system is not activity specific. It just means when students sign in, they get put in an intake list, and then they're picked off the list either by tutors, by staff members, advisors, or front desk workers when they're ready to be seen. Okay, now I can say when a student signs into the intake system, I want all tutors or advisors or staff members to see students waiting for every other advisor or tutor. And I can also hide the intake system button on the main screen. Now that might be important if students are signing into a sensitive kind of activity and you don't want other students to be able to see what they're waiting for in the intake system. Okay, but I'll leave that off for now. So now we'll sign another student in. Okay, and let's say, I don't know, calculus. Now I'll pick a tutor, and it says I'm in line. So the main sign-in screen view of the intake system right here merely shows the students that are waiting, the tutors that are signed in, whether they're busy or free with any other students. These, by the way, are all the tutors that offer help for Calc 1, but I could show all of my tutors if I wanted to. I can't sign in, I can only view that as a student. Now I could enter admin credentials and sign somebody in, or I could go through the back end of the software and do so. Okay, now I'm going to talk briefly about student pad and tutor pad. And by the way, if I don't recall where that is, I can merely type it in the find, and it'll take me either to that menu or the set of menus that include that option. And here it is. Okay, so if I don't want to show those buttons at all, I can just uncheck them and they'll be removed from the main screen. However, if I decide to show them, then I have options, the subset of options they can get to once they sign into either student or tutor pad. Now, by the way, if I don't show the tutor pad, then tutors will still get the tutor pad because it automatically opens. It knows that they're logging in with tutor credentials, and it will show the menu options that I enable right here. Okay, so I'll turn these off. Now, by the way, I could also say I'm not forcing a tutor to enter a password, but let's go ahead and turn tutor pad off, and these are the options my students could get to when they access the student pad. So we'll return to sign-in screen here, and here's my student pad. So if I enter a student ID, and by the way, the passwords can either be set globally to the same as the ID, the student's lowercase last name, or you can import their passwords. But anyway, I'll log in as student pad, and you can see I only have the options that I enabled my students to be able to get to through the pad, such as running reports for themselves, scheduling appointments, etc. Okay? Now, a tutor ID, even though I'm not showing the tutor pad, well, it knows to launch the tutor pad because I'm logging in with tutor credentials. Okay, and then I can get to exactly which buttons I said that my tutors could access via my tutor pad. Okay, and that's it.